Who's first on your hit list then? Bellingham, Jude Bellingham. He'd be good, wouldn't he?
Oh yeah, no, he's a great footballer. But I mean,
no chance so now, is there really? But
well, I think it's not where our focus is. You know, the solution isn't spending a lot of money on a couple of great players. That's not going to. I mean, they've done that. If you look at the last 10 years, they have spent a lot of money on a couple of great players. So the first thing we need to do is get the right people in the right boxes who are managing and organising the club, and make sure that we get recruitment right. It's such a vital part of running a football club today, is getting recruitment right.
Sir Jim Ratcliff has been speaking to the Geirant Thomas Cycling Club podcast, and he has been talking a lot about Man United and a few things about the club. He spoke about a wide range of issues on what it would take to bring the club back to the top. He talked about the role of Sir David Brailsford, his conversation with Sir Alex Ferguson, a bit on Old Trafford, and the transfer strategies that United are likely to deploy going into the transfer windows and all the other transfer windows that he'll be supervising as co-owner of the club. We've got updates on Eriksen, Christian Eriksen, and also Lisandro Martinez here, all on United today. Let's go for a quick turnaround. When I come back, I will unpack everything for you. I'll break everything down to everything that Sir Jim Ratcliffe, or highlights of what Sir Jim Ratcliffe has been speaking about. We'll be right back. Thanks for joining us once again on United today. As usual, if this is your first time watching us, please remember to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell as well. It's always important so we grow this community together. It's very, very important to us that you do that. So if you've been watching and you've not subscribed yet as well, you can also hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that anytime we drop a new episode, you will be notified so you can get to watch all the beautiful content we've put together for you here on United and Everything Football United Daily. All right, so Sir Jim Ratcliffe has been speaking. So he was on the Geirant Thomas Cycling Club podcast, and he was asked a wide range of issues. I mean, he was talking about a range of issues, not just Manchester United, but for the purpose of our updates, will be narrowing on just issues concerning Manchester United and things concerning the club and what his thoughts has been there. I'll be playing a bit of the excerpts for you and also be reading some of the quotes for you on exactly what Sir Jim Ratcliffe have been saying. So let's start with a bit more on what it would take to bring United back to the top. He threw a lot more light on this particular situation, what it would take to bring United back into light. Let's listen, and then when we come back, I'll break it down.
It's also a challenge at Manchester United, but it's not a light switch at Manchester United. It's a much longer road to travel because there's so many aspects of that club and that game that you need to get right.
So with the whole people in the right places, in the right boxes, so to speak, in United, is that Dave's job basically, or part of it, to get those people in place?
A big part of it. Well, yeah, I mean, it's not the only part, but it is a big part of it, really. I mean, it's a collective at the end of the day, but Dave's the one that's right in the middle of, right in the middle of it all. It's where you start, in a way. If you think about it, you need the right organisation structure, because if you look at football clubs, they operate. In the old days of Alex Ferguson, he was the manager. Well, we don't have managers today. We have a coach, and a coach would normally report to a sporting director, and the sporting director would report to the chief executive. So you need to get the, where do you put recruitment? Where do you put strategy, all that type of stuff, so you need to get your...
Now, all right, so if you had Sir Jim Ratcliffe there, he was talking about the fact that it's not going to be like a light that you switch on and off and then everything will turn back to normal. The focus has been that they are trying their very best to realign and re-strategize or restructure the way the club functions. If you heard him right, he talked about how things used to be with regards to coaches and who they report to. Now, he said that now the era of managers in modern football seems to be coming to an end, where there's a lot more structure to the way things are done, where coaches report to the director of football reports to the CEO. So basically, that is what Sir Jim Ratcliffe has been talking about. And he shared another profound quote, and let me read for you. He said that you have to believe with Man United, if we get all the right people in the right boxes, doing the right things with an elite sporting environment where it's driven, intense, but underneath it's supportive, with people there 5 to 6 days a week, results will drop out of the bottom, and all of those things are not right today. So basically what he's talking about is what he's been saying ever since he assumed the role as a minority owner of the club, where he talked about issues regarding the environment and putting things right with regards to the structure and getting the right people in place. So if you've seen the strategy that Sir Jim Ratcliffe has been deploying, it's been getting in the right people to come fit the new structure they are trying to put together, so that when these people come, they would be the ones making the right decisions regards to how things are supposed to function within the club in terms of its structure. So it's imperative, and Sir Jim Ratcliffe has been very, very, very much, careful about that. And if you heard him right, he talked about Sir David Brailsford and what he's been trying to do. As a matter of fact, he's at the center of everything with regards to this whole restructuring that is happening at the club at the moment, trying to get the things right. And he's not the one going to say go and buy this player or not, but he's trying to put the people to make those critical decisions there in place to be able, in order to, make the right decisions. If you've looked at us over the last 10 years in terms of decision making, especially getting in the right players, the right coaches, and getting the right sporting direction, it hasn't been so accurate, or it hasn't been so good. So as a result of that, the United has been at this level. So it all boils down to getting in the right structures and the right people in place to be able to do that. Now, he further threw some more light on how things are with the club at the moment in terms of who is running the show. And he said that we all talk on a daily basis. There is a group of us involved in Manchester United, but the two most focused on it is Dave and myself. We've now got Omar, of course, who is on gardening leave at the moment, but he is become a big part of a trio when he settles in. So it looks as if Sir Jim Ratcliffe is giving us an idea of the people running the show proper at the club now, in terms of major sporting decisions that's been made. Himself, Sir Dave Brailsford, and when Omar Barada ends his gardening leave, the kind of role that he's going to play and how important, it highlights how important Omar Barada will be for the structure when he also takes over as the chief executive officer of the club, who, with his knowledge and the kind of things that he's done at Manchester City, will be trying to balance the football bit and the business bit. Sir Jim Ratcliffe has said that you need the results on the pitch to be able to influence what happened from the business side. If you don't get a proper balance, it becomes very difficult for you to get the things on the football pitch right. As you've seen from United, the focus over the last 10 years has not necessarily been predominantly on the football club, but rather on the other side, which has been the business. You remember Louis van Gaal referring to the club as a commercial entity rather than a sporting club, as you would expect it. So all of these things are the things that Sir Jim Ratcliffe has been talking in relation to the environment and trying to fix everything within the environment and all of that. So, well, that's Sir Jim Ratcliffe on that. And he spoke about Sir Alex Ferguson, or he was asked about Sir Alex Ferguson and how much of an input he's receiving from him, given how great a figure Sir Alex Ferguson is to the club, the most successful club, or the most successful manager the club has had. I mean, in terms of achievements, stayed in the club for over 20 years and achieved a lot of things with the club. And it's right that Sir Jim Ratcliffe had something to say. Now, let's listen to what Sir Jim Ratcliffe said about Sir Alex Ferguson when he was asked by the host of the podcast.
Ferguson and everything he did at United, do you pick his brains? Is he a really good source? Because he knows that club better than anyone else. He took them their most successful periods, even more successful than Sir Matt Busby. So is he a wonderful source for you as you're coming in? Not only to find out about the club, but to
he was the first person I went to see, actually, because we signed, I don't even remember, we signed the deal on Christmas Eve at 4:00 eventually, after about 1.5 years of trying. And then I think I went on the 2nd of January up to Manchester to just say hello to people. But Alex Ferguson was the first person we went to see. Dave and I went to see him at his home. And we were there, I think we were there from 9 till 10, but we left at 1. He's very thoughtful about the club, Alex.
That must be
all right, so you heard it right. So that is Sir Jim Ratcliffe giving his thoughts on Sir Alex Ferguson and how important it is. He says that the moment the deal was signed on New Year's Eve, when he got to Manchester, a few people, one of the first person he went to see was Sir Alex Ferguson, and you could see that he's tapping into what Sir Alex Ferguson is going to tell him, because if you have a man who's been in the club for all these decades, I mean, after being or ending his stint as coach of the club, he's been around the club playing various roles, going to the stadium and doing a few other things for the club. It's perfect and right. And we've seen pictures of Sir Jim Ratcliffe anytime he's been at Old Trafford. He's always in the company of Sir Alex Ferguson. During the Munich disaster, he was in the company of Sir Alex Ferguson. So this is what Sir Jim Ratcliffe is saying with regards to his relationship with Sir Alex Ferguson and what he's doing and the kind of conversations that they are having. And it's all geared towards getting Man United back on track once again to be the club. And there is no other person to consult with regards to how things are in terms of success than talking to Sir Alex Ferguson and getting in his mind to understand exactly how things should be done, getting his wise counsel on how things should be done with regards to the club and all of that. So that's it. Now, there was a very interesting subject about the stadium and what United is trying to do, or what he wants to do with the stadium. Is it to construct a new stadium? Is it to improve upon Old Trafford and all of that? Now, he shared a very interesting quote, and this is what he said with regards to the stadium. He says that I think United are the biggest sports brand in the world. So it needs to have a stadium that is befitting the club and the brand. Might have been the case 20 years ago, but it isn't today. Now, if you see what Real Madrid are doing at the Bernabeu and Barcelona with the Camp Nou, and then you look at the Premier League, we don't have anything that compares to that. Now, Sir Jim Ratcliffe also goes on to say something very interesting. He says that I think the future of football is not going to be just to go to the stadium to the football match. You leave home and you go. You leave and then you go home, no? Or where we have today, where people have to leave early because the transportation system can't cope with the rush, because there is nothing else to do. The future is you provide more entertainment and you keep the fans there for a much more longer time. So that's what Sir Jim Ratcliffe is saying. So if you look at these two quotes, he's trying to justify why United would need a new stadium, and not just a new stadium, an edifice that is all encompassing, where it provides all sort of entertainment to people, where people don't just go to watch the games and then go home, but there are far more available facilities in and around the stadium that would entertain people who just go to watch the stadium, who go to watch the matches. Now, he made reference of what Real Madrid and Barcelona are trying to do. Now, they are trying to get ahead of the curve, and they have put together a very good ultra-modern edifice. Barcelona is in the process of doing. Real Madrid have just completed the building of their new stadium. If you watch around, even Everton is trying to get a new stadium. Tottenham Hotspur have put together a new stadium. Liverpool have had to revamp a bit of it, but not up to the level that perhaps they would have expected. But they've done something. Chelsea have been trying to, get themselves a new stadium as well. So, but Sir Jim Ratcliffe has a very unique idea as to how things should be, and he talks about trying to get a stadium in the north. As you see, he says everything in England is centered around the south. So what he's trying to do with even the task force that has been put together is to try and draw a feasibility study, or try and explain or come out with a feasibility of putting together this edifice that will serve not just the purpose of playing football for Manchester United, but where England can also come there to play football, where people can go there and have not just a football field, but can get themselves entertained and all of that. So it's a unique thing. Sir Jim Ratcliffe is trying to begin a revolution of a sort in England by trying to, put all of these things together with regards to the stadium. So he threw a lot more light on that. And you can get a copy of the podcast to listen to. And it's where he shed a lot more light on some of these very important issues now. So that's it on the stadium bit. Now, he was also asked about the transfer strategy and how things are going to be, where he was asked whether he's going to sign next Jude Bellingham or Kylian Mbappe's and all of that. And he was like, that is not the approach that United would likely take, because it has to do with getting the right structures in place and getting the very proper direction. You'd rather be investing in finding the next Mbappe rather than spending a fortune on getting an Mbappe into the side and all of that. So it looks as if the transfer strategy of where United fans, perhaps, we clamor for some of these big names, wouldn't be the strategy that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is talking about. He is looking at finding or unearthing the next big thing or the next big stars. And if you've been following this United Today, our updates on United Today, you look at the caliber of players that United have been tagged with. These are young up-and-coming players who are having some level of experience at the highest level. And United feel that perhaps being at the club or bringing them into the club will give them a platform for them to take off to be the next big thing. So Sir Jim Ratcliffe isn't necessarily going to get you a Kylian Mbappe or a Jude Bellingham who are already established and are on higher fees for their various clubs. But what they will try to do is to get you a lot more better. Next big thing with regards to some of these things. So these are some of the highlights from Sir Jim Ratcliffe's interview and some of the things that he's been sharing. And it's a very, very insightful interview. And I'm sure a lot of United fans who get a copy to listen to would enjoy themselves with regards to that. Now, let's switch off from Sir Jim Ratcliffe and let's get to some team news. And Lisandro Martinez, as we spoke to you about in the last couple of updates, has joined Argentina. And interestingly, we thought he was just going to be around the team. Well, he's on the grass and he has started training with the Argentine national team. As to the level of intensity of training he's doing, we can't confirm, but he's on the grass. He's in the boots, not in a sneaker. So it means he's doing very well with regards to training. So it's a bit of a positive news for United. What it means is that there's a likelihood or there's a chance, as I reported the other time, that he'll be involved in a game against Brentford when we return or when we resume from the international break. So that's a bit of a positive news with regards to Lisandro Martinez. As you know, we are navigating a very crucial care when we come back. We have a lot to play for the FA Cup semi-final and also getting ourselves involved in trying to catch up with Aston Villa and Tottenham Hotspur for a place in the Champions League race. So a lot more to be fighting for with regards to all of these things. So that's it with regards to Lisandro Martinez. Now, Christian Eriksen also has been in his camp and he has been speaking. Now, Christian Eriksen hasn't been getting enough playing time for some time now. It's been a lot more Casemiro, Scott McTominay, Kobbie Mainoo. All of these players have been playing ahead of him. And when he went to his camp, I'm sure he was asked about why he's not getting playing time and what he's doing about it. This is what Christian Eriksen had to say. He said that he's had a talk with Eric about being unhappy with the situation and wanting to play as much as possible. And he said that the coach told him that Kobbie Mainoo is doing well and that the rest of the midfield is also performing, and so there is competition for places. Basically, what Eric Ten Hag is telling you is to up your game. And that's basically the communication that Christian Eriksen is saying that Ten Hag is telling him. He has to up his game so that he can compete and be part of the places within the midfield. He says that, of course, you can be concerned in the long run, but I want to play as much as possible. You don't want to always sit on the bench. Now, he further added that I've said in the past that I'm not happy to play, but it's not something that keeps me from sleeping. The team is performing and I have to respect my role. It's easier today to accept my role than before. As you know, he's an experienced player. He understands what it means to be dropped. It means that performance isn't up to that level that you'd expect. So Christian Eriksen, not happy with the situation, but doing his best to get back into the books of Erik ten Hag, or to get back into the starting lineup and be playing a lot more than he is doing currently. There are times where even he doesn't appear in the game at all, although he will be on the bench and other players will be coming on. It clearly tells you that perhaps Erik ten Hag expects more from Christian Eriksen, and he's unable to provide at the moment. So it's very, very important that Christian Eriksen ups his game. All right, thanks very much. This is the end of our updates for today on United Today. Thanks for being with us always. It's always a pleasure to come your way with United Today. We'll be back tomorrow with another update. But remember, hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that you can always join us. We'll see you on another one. Have a great time.